Okay, so today we're tackling something pretty big.
Yeah.
Can we actually make AI, like, genuinely smarter? Not just bigger or faster, but really more intelligent.
Right, right. And more specifically,
Hmm.
we're diving into the world of large language models.
Exactly.
These AI systems you've probably seen powering those chatbots or
Yes.
those really impressive writing tools everyone's using.
Right, those tools that seem almost like magically good.
Yeah, exactly.
But what's going on behind the scenes? And the really interesting thing is this technique, chain of thought prompting.
Yeah, and what's so fascinating about this deep dive is that we're not just trying to throw more data at the problem, right? We're going beyond that and exploring this technique, chain of thought prompting.
It's almost like, imagine instead of just getting the answer from a calculator, you get to see the entire equation broken down step by step.
Yeah,
It just gives you so much more understanding.
absolutely.
That's essentially what we're doing with chain of thought prompting. We're asking AI to show its work.
Yeah, and you know what's fascinating about that? It's like it mirrors how we think, how humans think. We don't just jump to conclusions, right?
Right.
We consider information, we think about it.
We weigh the options.
Exactly, we reason our way through a
It's a
problem.
process.
It's a process.
It
It
like
is.
if a friend just throws a random fact at you, it's like, okay, interesting.
Right.
But if they explain how they got to that fact, that's so much more insightful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So to really dig into this, we waded through a ton of research, papers from all the top AI conferences.
Yeah, there's been so much buzz about this.
Yeah.
And one study we found, a massive meta-analysis, really caught our eye.
Oh, wow.
Because it wasn't just looking at one experiment on chain of thought prompting. They analyzed over 1,000 experiments.
1,000.
Over 1,000.
Wow. Okay, now that's a deep dive. So what did they find? Was it like this magic bullet we've all been waiting for?
Well, here's where it gets really interesting. They found that for certain tasks, particularly math and what we call symbolic reasoning.
Okay, hold on. Before we go any further, let's define symbolic reasoning for our listeners who might not be familiar with that term. What does that actually mean?
Of course. So symbolic reasoning, it involves tasks that require that logical thinking, right? Manipulation of symbols, like solving those logic puzzles or finding pattern,
Well,
like
deducting.
exactly. It's about understanding relationships and drawing conclusions, but based on specific rules.
Okay, so it's like teaching AI to think more like us, more logically.
Exactly, precisely. And for those tasks, they found some incredible results.
Okay, like what?
AI, when using chain of thought prompting, saw accuracy jumps of 14.2% for symbolic reasoning, and for math, 12.3% on average.
Wow, those are some big gains.
Huge, huge.
Yeah, it seems like giving AI that framework, that step-by-step approach makes a huge difference, at least when it comes to those logical tasks.
Yeah.
But I have a feeling it's not all good news.
Right. You're right, it's not a perfect solution. It's not universally applicable. Remember, we're talking about making AI genuinely smarter overall.
Right, not just good at logic puzzles.
Exactly. And that's where things get a little more, well, complicated.
All right, well, you've definitely piqued our curiosity. Let's dig into those complications. Where do the researchers go next?
So they wanted to see how well chain of thought prompting fared on a much broader test of AI, something called MMLU.
MMLU. Okay, that sounds a little intimidating. What is that?
Think of it as the SATs, but for AI.
Oh, okay.
It's this massive test covering a huge range of subjects: history, law, physics, even ethics.
Wow, the whole gamut.
It really is. And it's designed to see if an AI can truly understand these topics, not just crunch numbers.
So instead of just logic and math, they threw everything at it. I'm guessing the results were a little mixed.
Yeah, you could say that. The results on the MMLU were definitely interesting. It didn't totally fail.
Right.
But we didn't see those huge improvements we saw with, like, the math problem.
Interesting. So it worked, but only a little. What kind of patterns did the researchers actually see in the data?
Well, they noticed this really specific pattern. It seemed like chain of thought really only made a difference on the questions that, well, that had an equal sign in them.
Wait, really? You're saying even in questions about, like, history or law, if there was some math involved,
Yeah.
chain of thought gave the AI boost?
Exactly. And that's where it gets, I think, even more interesting. Because remember, the MMLU classifies questions by subject.
Right.
But what this suggests, what they found suggests, is that even within those categories, a lot of those questions, they still boil down to this kind of underlying mathematical structure.
So even though we might categorize a question as, say, history, if it secretly involves some calculation or, like you said, some kind of logical deduction, it's the chain of thought that helps the AI get it. That's pretty cool.
It is, isn't it? It's like this hidden connection. And that sort of insight leads us to, I think, another really important distinction in how we think about problem solving. This idea of planning versus execution.
Okay, planning and execution. Break that down for me. What do you mean?
Sure. So think about like writing an essay. I think it's a good analogy here, right? First, you plan it out.
Right.
You outline your arguments, you decide your structure.
Yeah, your intro, your points.
Exactly, exactly. That's the planning phase. And then there's the actual writing part.
The execution.
Yes, where you put those plans into words.
Got it. So how does that connect back to chain of thought and like what we're talking about with AI?
Well, it seems like what chain of thought is really good at, it's like a booster for that execution stage, especially when it comes to like those calculations or following those logical steps. It's giving the AI the roadmap.
Okay, so it helps with that writing part of the problem. But I feel like there's another but coming. There's always a catch, right?
There might be a small catch, yeah.
Okay.
What they found was even when the AI could plan out a solution, it could make a good plan, it still struggled with more complex calculations, especially compared to, well, a simple calculator.
Oh, interesting. So it can plan the essay, but then it has trouble actually writing the sentences.
Yes, and that's a really, really good way to put it. And this is what I think is so interesting. It leads to this question. Have we been kind of going about this the wrong way? Have we been so focused on making an AI that can do everything, that's good at everything?
The like jack of all trades.
Exactly, that we've missed out on its real strengths,
So instead of this like all-powerful universal AI, we should be focusing on more maybe specialized AIs.
Yes. What if instead of one AI to rule them all, we have all these systems where AI is collaborating with other tools, playing to its strengths?
I like where you're going with this. So the AI is like the strategist.
Yes.
It's making the plan, and then it teams up with other tools, like you said, even just a calculator for the actual execution.
Yes. Or imagine AI working with human experts.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, the AI could do the gathering of information, organizing it all, maybe even proposing solutions.
Right.
And then the human expert, they come in to do that final check, bringing in their own expertise and intuition.
That's a really compelling idea. So it's more about finding that right balance between AI and human expertise. AI is great at the data, finding those patterns. Humans are still better at the kind of intuition,
Yes.
the creativity, understanding the nuances of a really complex situation.
Absolutely.
So it's not about AI versus humans. It's really about AI working with humans.
Precisely.
And that's how we can solve these problems in a way that neither could do alone. It's almost like augmented intelligence, not just artificial. So for our listener who's been with us on this whole journey through chain of thought prompting, what are the big takeaways here? Where do we land on all this? I think the biggest takeaway is that it really is a big deal. It's not just hype. Chain of thought prompting really does seem to make AI better at those tasks, the specific tasks that involve clear, logical steps.
Right.
Especially if there's like a mathematical basis to it. It unlocks that reasoning,
It's teaching the AI how to think it through,
Yeah.
not just like magically come up with an answer.
Exactly.
But as we've kind of seen, it's not a magic bullet.
It's not.
It's not one size fits all.
Yeah, for those more, those complex tasks, those nuanced ones where there isn't a clear logical path,
Right.
the benefits are less clear.
Yeah.
And even when the AI can plan things out, make a great plan, if it involves really, really complex calculations, it still kind of needs that help with the execution.
Right. Which brings us back to that idea of these specialized AIs, right? Working
Yeah.
together with
Yeah.
other tools, maybe even with us, with human experts
Exactly.
to get things done.
Yeah.
So what could that look like, really, practically speaking? What's the future here?
Well, imagine like an AI that works with, let's say, lawyers. It helps them analyze legal documents, goes through tons and tons of case law, maybe even proposes legal arguments.
Wow.
But it doesn't replace the lawyer. It helps
Gotcha.
them work better, be more efficient,
And-
and lets them focus on those parts of the job where you really need that human judgment.
Right, that strategy, that human element.
Exactly. Or what about in healthcare? An AI that looks at a patient's symptoms, their medical history, all the latest research, and gives doctors possible diagnoses, treatment options.
That would be amazing to be able to process all that.
Right. But in the end, it's still the doctor making the final call, using their expertise and experience.
So it's really about using the best of both worlds.
Yes.
The AI and the human intelligence.
It's true. AI is amazing at all that data, finding those patterns.
Right.
But we humans, we're better at intuition, creativity, understanding those really complex situations.
And that human connection, too.
Absolutely. It's so important.
So it's not this, like, AI versus humans.
No.
It's AI with humans.
Exactly.
That's how we solve these big problems in a way that neither one of us can do alone.
It's true.
It's like I've been saying, it's that augmented intelligence, not just artificial.
That's the future, I think.
And that's what's so exciting. It's not just about making AI better for the sake of it. It's using it to help us be better, too.
It's a partnership.
I love that. Well, it seems like we've only just scratched the surface of chain of thought prompting and really what it could mean for the future of AI. So to everyone listening out there, keep asking those questions, keep exploring this stuff, because who knows, maybe you'll be the one to discover that next big breakthrough in AI collaboration. Until next time, happy diving.